What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be taking a little bit of a revisit over a weapon that used to be absolutely dominant in the Crucible not that long ago, and it's been recently been brought to my attention again. For those of you that don't know, we're going to be talking about the Lord of Wolves today. Now, this exotic shotgun used to be absolutely obscene up until when it got nerfed. This shotgun was able to kill people at incredible ranges. Over the life cycle of this weapon, basically when it first released, it was powerful in its own right. Then they brought up some form of update where they changed it so that when you wanted to activate the exotic perk, release the wolves, all you had to do was hold down the reload button, which then basically allowed you to be sniping people from absolutely ridiculous ranges, like literally hand cannon type range. You was able to kill with the Lord of Wolves, and it was a real big problem in the Crucible, a real big problem in the competitive scene on both PC and console. Then all of a sudden it got nerfed, and to be honest, I didn't hear too much about it because I'm mainly a console predominantly player. But I was watching another content creator by the name of Lucky. Now, he plays over on PC and he does these really interesting games. If you like PvP, you should definitely consider watching him. He's really good. But he does these games where he does 1v3s against opponents, and then when they do something, he'll put on the Lord of Wolves. And I was thinking, why is he putting that on? And it's obviously because he was absolutely, he was causing a lot of problems for these people when he put this weapon on. Let's just put it that way. He was absolutely obliterating people when he was using it. And I was thinking, man, if it's still this good on PC, I wouldn't if it's still that good on console. Now, the main reason it's a lot better on PC is because it's easier to control the recoil, so you can hit a lot more of the burst of the shotgun, therefore extending its max kill range, whereas on console it's a lot more difficult to use it. But I thought, you know what, let me put it on and let me see what I can do with this thing. So I put the Lord of Wolves on, and as you can see from the gameplay in the background, yes, it is still very, very, very good. The reason I think it's still so good now is because of the new light weapon system. Now, before, I was a player that only really played PvP, so in terms of armor, I never really had that much, good stuff. But now with New Light, the fact that you can just buy the mods from the gunsmith and you keep them, and it's a lot more, and it's a lot easier to put builds together. I now, for instance, can have things like, quick draw on my shotgun. I can now find a lot more ammo for the shotgun, and also I can have better target acquisition, and I can also have reduced flinch when using this thing. So it just makes it a lot better than it used to. Whereas before, I'd literally run out of ammo with it all the time, so I'd never be able to find any. But now it's a lot more accessible, and if it's a lot more accessible for me and I'm a Crucible player, it's going to be a lot more accessible for the other masses that play the Crucible. And that's the thing that kind of New Light has done overall. It's basically made it so that people that don't play the game that often can still now put together decent builds in the Crucible and make everything slide a bit more deadly. For instance, if you're a fusion rifle player, I guarantee you now you've probably picked up some fusion rifle mods that are going to be able to help your game, whereas before it was a lot more difficult to put together armor pieces that basically made you effective in the Crucible. So with all these things put together, it's definitely still very deadly. Is it as good as your Mindbender's Ambition and your Dust Drop Blues? It doesn't necessarily play the same way. If you're a really good player with them shotguns and you're good at closing the distance, you're always probably going to beat someone in a 1v1 duel with the Lord of Wolves if you use the Lord of Wolves the same way that you would use them shotguns, because the time to kill on the Dust Drop Blues and the Mindbender's Ambition is just quicker than the Lord of Wolves because it's a burst fire shotgun. But if you use the Lord of Wolves a bit more in a sense like a fusion rifle, where you're waiting for enemies to come towards you, you don't have that charge up time, but you can kill at a much bigger, you've got a much greater range in which you can kill from than other shotguns do. So if you've got people pushing you with the Mindbenders and they're not closing the gap using cover and they're coming directly towards you, you're going to kill them every single time that you come into an engagement with them, and you're going to win a lot of shotgun engagements, and especially a lot of shotgun engagements against players that aren't that good. High skill players, you'll find it more difficult to use it against, but again, if you put the time in with this thing and then you get really good with it, or if you're a high skill player already, there's definitely a place for this thing to be used in the meta 100% still. It just takes a little bit of an adjustment period where you can't use it exactly the same way that you would use the other shotguns at the moment. Now, one thing to bear in mind when using this absolute monster of a gun is it does unfortunately have quite a lot of, well, I say unfortunately, it's actually a good thing, otherwise it would still be as broken it was before, but there's quite a steep range drop off. Now I'm going to show you a clip in the background here where it almost feels like after a certain range you just start tickling people, and they've obviously done that on purpose so you can't absolutely snipe people anymore. You need to kind of learn that range, because literally if you shoot someone at that range, you're going to literally, you're going to actually tickle them and do hardly any damage. So you need to keep it in the range we can still do damage, but definitely this thing is still an absolute monster. The amount of ammo you can pick up for this thing if you continue to get kills with it is obscene. Like, I had, I think at one point, at least 50 rounds in this thing, so it just meant that I could absolutely tear through people. For game modes like Rumble, this thing's really effective, where you constantly got enemies charging towards you. That's the best way to really use it, is to get people coming towards you, and then you can just pick them off as they're coming at a greater range than they'd be able to kill you with their regular shotgun, like the Mindbender's Ambition or the Dust Rock Blues. Now, that's pretty much it for this video. I literally just wanted to see if this thing was still good, still competitive in the Crucible, because I hadn't used it in ages, and it 100% is. If you're a new light player and you haven't used this weapon before and you don't have it, definitely go out and get it, because it is very, very good in the Crucible, and it's a little bit different. Not a lot of people are using it right now, especially on console. So I'd like to thank you all very much for watching this video, guys. If you did like it, please consider leaving a like down below, and if you want to see more Destiny content on my channel, you know what to do, please hit the subscribe button. I'd like to thank you all very much for watching, guys, and have a great day.